Now is the time to welcome our next esteemed speaker on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about La Sri Narayana Desika Swamigal ji. He is the 14th Pujari of Koviloor Mutt, and they specialize in Hindutva Vedanta teachings and spiritual growth. His presence is a blessing to all of us here today. His wisdom is profound. With deep respect, we extend a very warm welcome to La Sri Narayana Desika Swamigal ji on stage. Please put your hands together and welcome Swamiji.
உலகெல்லாம் உணர்ந்தோதற்கரியவன் நிலவுலாவிய நீர்மலிவேணியன் ஆலகில் சோதியன் நம்பலத்தாடுவான் மலர் சிலம்படி வாழ்த்தி வணங்குவான். கோவிலூர் ஆண்டவர் திருவடிகள் போற்றி, நாச்சிப சுவாமிகள் திருவடிகள் போற்றி. I am immensely grateful to Mr. and Mrs. Lad and Mr. Girish Kulkarni for having felt that I will add value in speaking in this August conference. As you may be aware, I am the 14th Pontiff of Koviloor Mutt, which is about 214 years old. And this was a mutt created to teach Vedanta in Tamil. The first ever mutt which was preaching Vedanta in Tamil to make Vedanta known in an inclusive manner. Apart from that, we have one speciality, which is this mutt has been the guiding force for a very illustrious community of India, which is an Arcot Chettiar community. I am very happy to inform that our delegation, consisting of roughly 100 temples, managed, constructed, reconstructed by the community, is the largest group of delegates in this conference. The community is only 150,000 people strength in terms of numeric value, but out of 234 temples which were sung by the three great Nayanmars, 120 temples were reconstructed, renovated and consecrated by this community. Not only that, out of 14 banks which were nationalized in the year 1969, 2 banks were founded by this community. And this community was only 50,000 in number out of 50 crore population of India in 1969. Out of the 63 holy saints of Saivism, as we call them in Tamil Nadu, Nayanmars, 5 Nayanmars are from this community. It is not for nothing that I am waxing eloquent about this community, because the twin purpose of this community participation in this conference is most people do not know that such a community exists in India. This community is probably a little bigger than the Parsi community. But in terms of philanthropy, they are less than none. One illustrious example I can give is in Kashi Vishwanath Mandir, 5 aartis being performed every day, out of which the puja material for 3 aartis are being provided by this community, not today, not yesterday, for the past 230 years. Even during the Second World War, when everything was in a standstill, this puja performance was happening. Even during Corona period, it was happening, no break. And because of that, when Kashi Vishwanath Mandir wanted to start Annakshetra, there were a lot of wealthy people, wealthier than this community, which came to provide that service. But for only one reason, that this community has been very consistent in its charity and very sincere in its commitment to Baba Vishwanath, that service was handed over to this community about 4 years back. But this community has also been doing Annadanam for the last 230 years, and it has been officially recorded in the books of Kashi Vishwanath Mandir. Recently, Kashi Vishwanath Mandir wanted to start one more Annakshetra to provide food for the Sanskrit schools, Veda Padashalas. There are 69 in number in Varanasi, out of which there are about 3,000 students studying there. They also wanted to provide food for the very, very poverty-stricken attenders in hospitals, like the Cancer Hospital and BHU Hospital. And same way, we were chosen. Our Koviloor Mutt was the chosen organization. As a collaborative charity, we have started doing the charity since last September. And that is going to about 700 students in Veda Padasala and about 1,500 attenders in 2 hospitals. And post Kumbh Mela, probably that number will go up to 5,000 or 6,000 every day. The topic I wanted to speak about is the power of charity. And the power of charity, in which what the government can do to catalyze that power of charity. When I was approaching Baba Vishwanath Mandir to provide this service, this collaborative charity, the CEO who was present showed interest. He saw my presentation and then said, okay, we will have a trust meeting on 24th. After that, we will give you the permission. On 24th, that CEO was transferred to another department. So, I had to start from the beginning. So, I met the new CEO, started the work. But Baba Vishwanath handled the whole thing. I didn't do anything. I did not make one more presentation. I just reiterated my original proposal. That's all. It was going on and on. It was not happening. We have a mutt in Varanasi, in Asigad. So I said, Baba, if you don't want me to come and do this service on behalf of Vishwanath Mandir, I will do it in my mutt. So I started this Annadanam in our mutt by June, July. In 2 months, I got a call from the CEO saying that you have been granted the permission, you can come and start. So the faith that we have is we leave it to Baba if he wants, we are there. If he doesn't want, we are not there. But we also have the courage to go and challenge him. Okay, you don't want me? I will do it. So, if there is a hurdle, that hurdle is met by performing this service in Varanasi, not in Koviloor. That is one example. And the equipments that we purchased were based on a ground floor kitchen. But the temple management felt that the ground floor might be needed for some other service. So they asked us to go to the first floor. The staircase is only 4 feet wide. Our equipments were all 6 feet wide. I left it to somebody and he said, "You don't worry, Baba will take care." I invite all of you here to come and visit Varanasi and see that kitchen to see how it happened. It is like Egyptian pyramid. I don't know how it happened. It happened. Therefore, that is the power of charity, sincere and committed. Okay, now what is it that the government could have done? Government at that point in time, our investment was something like 80-90 lakhs or whatever. But we paid 18% GST. And the temple modified the infrastructure. They spent probably 40-50 lakhs, on which they paid 18 to 28% GST. I was wondering if GST has to be charged on any charitable work undertaken by the charitable institutions or religious institutions. Why is GST being charged? It is at the point of delivery, but to whom? Is it not necessary for the government to look at who is the actual end user before charging a tax? When income tax gives an exemption for religious purpose, for charitable purpose, why not GST? It's just my thought. It's not that I'm commenting that GST is wrong, but at least on religious organizations, you don't have to charge a GST. I think this institution, this platform is a good place to start thinking differently about the taxation. And my originally prepared speech was mostly preempted by Mr. Annamalai in the morning. And however, I am not totally out in the water. He mentioned a lot of things as to what are the things which are wrong in temple management in Tamil Nadu. I would like to take a leaf out of the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, who spoke yesterday. He pointedly mentioned 3 things. And not only is he a pioneer in IT, he is also a pioneer in temple administration. I think people don't understand that. He said, we are not interested in getting involved in puja. Our administrators will not say, go and do this, go and do that. But in Tamil Nadu, the ministry involves itself in puja. It's like, I'll give you an example. There are hospitals run by the government. What will happen if the minister starts prescribing medicine for the patients? Same thing is happening when the government is getting involved in how you should do the puja. Already people are talking in a very important temple like Tiruchendur, where if you go and do Shanmugarchana, it is 1008 times mantra. Now because of the crowd, the people who are managing the affairs are saying you do only half. So people who are going with the faith that 1008 times it is being chanted, they are being taken for a ride. They are only doing half Shanmugarchana, which is probably not the way it has to be. Similarly, in many such big temples where people are thronging like 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, in Tiruvannamalai, if you go for the Kartike Deepam, you will see 25 lakh people, ocean. And you go and see the Abhishekam. Many of you would have gone to see the Abhishekam. Abhishekam is never performed in this manner. It was never performed in this manner any time in the past. Now they are doing like it has to be got over with. That's all. You have to do it in 10 minutes, you will do it in 10 minutes. If you have to do 15 liters of milk, they do only 5 liters milk. A lot of, cutting corners, which actually undermines the faith of the devotees. But I am very happy that Andhra is taking the lead in not getting involved in the puja sector, number one. Number two, he also mentioned one very important area, the salary paid to Archakas. It was 10,000 rupees earlier, now we are paying 15,000. I am going to make it even more. He has not probably gone to Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, the HRNC budget is approximately 400 crores. In that 400 crores, 159 crore goes to salary and perquisites to the employees of HRNC, not for Archakas. And you go to any temple in Tamil Nadu, ask the Archaka what is the salary being paid. It's probably 2,000 to 3,000 rupees. It's not even sustenance. And today morning you would have heard Mr. Annamalai saying the EOs are being appointed without an appointment letter. The EOs are getting salary which is like the pay commission salary. And Archakas are getting non-subsistence salary. Who is the most important employee in a temple? The most important employee in a temple must be the priest, the Archakas. He has to be paid what is a good, reasonable salary which will sustain him over a period of time. Now, if you pay 8,000 or less, he is not going to come there. So, probably they don't want people to come for doing the puja. It also explains why even last occasion I spoke in Varanasi. Out of 43,000 temples, roughly 37,000 temples don't have one puja every day. And I wanted to get involved in that. I wanted a list from the government in 2 districts. After 1.5 years, I haven't got the list. They are not willing to give a list. They say, if I give you the list and you do puja, we can't audit. I said, you can't audit, but there will be puja. So for the temple, do you need audit or do you need puja? They want to do audit, we want to do puja. If there is a conflict, who resolves it? So now I come to the third point that was mentioned by the Chief Minister yesterday. We want PPPP, public participation. How do we do that? Public has to protest. This is not the way it has to happen. It has to happen better. But unfortunately, we are not able to do it in Tamil Nadu. Probably, Tamil Nadu ministers will come and have a visit in Andhra Pradesh and see how temples are managed, and maybe they can take a leaf out of this and start doing better. I am not going all the way to talk like Mr. Annamalai and say HRNC will be dismantled next year. I don't know. If it happens, it happens. Otherwise, I have to be more practical in thinking. It may not get dismantled, but at least let us get some relief. Let pujas not be performed under the instructions of the bureaucrats and the ministers, and let the puja happen as per the wishes of the pujaris. That is one. And the temples should not be charged. In Tamil Nadu, they are charging 14% tax on the revenue of the temple. What happens to that 14%? It goes to the central kitty and it is not being used. Last year, 240 crore surplus goes to the bank. It is not utilized for either reconstruction of the temple. They provided 6 crore, they didn't spend. They provided only salaries and no other money for the temple management. Which is why the public has to come in and ask why it is not happening. If it has to happen, how will it happen? There are 2 things. One, of course, our friend from Chidambaram, Dikshidhar, has come. they got a Supreme Court order in 2014 in which Supreme Court clearly said the HR&C department is only a transit passenger. They are not permanent residents. If there is a dispute between parties to the management of a temple, till such time that dispute is resolved, they can sit and monitor. And they have to form a scheme within a reasonable time. And the scheme must be implemented. And the temples must be handed over back to the original trustees. Even in case of mismanagement. This is a term used in the judgment. But no. After 2014, they put a prasad stall inside the temple. And they went again to the Supreme Court. And then they were sent off. But every year, they are getting one or the other torture. It is still happening. So, it is like this. Originally, when this act was envisaged, it was for resolution of disputes, protection of the property, that's it. Forming schemes, but they have overstepped the authority. If you put one stone and put some kumkum and somebody comes and prays, it will be taken over by HR&C in Tamil Nadu. It will be treated as a temple. They will put a hundi. You don't know who has put the hundi, who is taking the money. There are temples like that. So, HR&C always wants to take over temples. It's not something which was happening, which was envisaged by the Act earlier. Act said if there is a public contribution, then HR&C can interfere. Only to the extent of property management. Okay, now I come to the next issue, property management. These are all professional portfolio managers. Can they advise anybody as to how the property must be managed? There is Income Tax Act which is very clear. You have to deposit in a bank. You can't put it in anything else. You can buy property. But how do you let out? There are many methods of monetizing the assets of any temple. But those are not envisaged by the HR&C Act. Therefore, what I would feel, Mr. Rande in the morning spoke about dismantling of HR&C or getting out of control. If ever it happens, there must also be a professional portfolio management team which should give more liberties to improve the yield for the temple property. And as Mr. Annamalai was pointing out, if you get that kind of revenue, I have one small strategy. He also mentioned passingly, I went into that a little more in detail. Out of 1.9 billion Christians, only 6 million people go to Vatican. Out of 1.9 billion. Out of 1.3 billion Muslims, only 20 million go to Mecca. Out of 120 crore Indians, 12 billion Indians, Hindus. Up to yesterday, 53 crore people went to Mahakumbh. Who is more religious? And now Saudi Arabia feels that to diversify their income source, they are investing $30 billion in Mecca to accommodate 300,000 pilgrims every year, every day. And their payback period, they say our GDP percentage of Mecca revenue is 6%. We want to make it 15% by 2030. Are we doing any of that? In Mahakumbh, what was the investment made? According to official estimates, 6,000, 7,000 crore. And the revenue generated, people are talking different numbers. Minimum, if out of 50 crore people, even if each one spends 6,000 rupees, it is 300,000 crore. And 300,000 crore is not going to the government. It goes to multiple sectors. Will it not improve the economy if one institution, I'll give you one more example, Varanasi. before 2021, before Vishwanath Dham was created, that corridor was created, average inflow of pilgrims was 20,000 or less every day. After that, in 2024, it was 6 crore people in 2024. And now, today, I am seeing 15 lakh people every day. And is it not a big economic movement happening? People are not going there to improve the economy. They are going there with faith on Baba. And definitely, all these 15 lakh people are not fools. They are getting their money's worth in terms of their present life and future life. And why don't we promote it everywhere? If one temple can attract 15 lakh people, there are how many temples which can attract that kind of crowd? And what is the infrastructure involvement by the government? If I am asking one more question. TTD has got a hub and spoke model where the major temple will manage the minor temples, where there is no puja, where there is no money to buy prasad, to make prasad. Can't we do it in every state? Is it not possible? Last time when I was in Varanasi, there were a lot of queries from Hampi, there were a lot of queries from Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. People were saying it was not possible for them to make prasad. We are not getting people. Can't we do a central kitchen for making prasad and distribute to 40-kilometer radius? It is possible. With all the technology that we are talking about for crowd management, let us also do prasad management for a hub and spoke model. And prasad is an important element to attract crowd to any temple. You tell me, all Sai Baba temples are attracting crowd. How? Because of the prasad. I am not demeaning the prasad, but prasad is an important element. If you don't give prasad, then, okay. If you don't give prasad, that kind of crowd doesn't come. So, what I am trying to summarize is, we have to do charity, and charity improves our faith, and faith improves the economy, and the government has to do everything possible to reduce the tax liability on the temples and make that money available to the temples so that the temples can use it for improving the faith of the pilgrims. Thank you. One more point I wanted to say. In the last occasion, I was invited to Varanasi. I got connected to Varanasi temple. Now I have come to Tirupati. Probably this is a lucky mascot. I will get connected to Tirupati also. Thank you.
Thank you, Swami Galji, for sharing your time and your thoughts with us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause as ITCX founder for Temple Collect, Shri Giresh Vasudev Kulkarni ji is felicitating Swami Galji for sharing his wisdom with us at the second edition of International Temple Convention and Expo 2025. Thank you once again, Swamiji. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. And please keep the applauses going as we will now be inviting our next speaker on stage.